President Obama will leave office Friday with the most commutations in White House history. He pardoned 64 people yesterday and commuted the sentences of 209 others. Most are for drug offenses. Convicted leaker and former Army Private Chelsea Manning is among those who had their sentences reduced. Retired Marine General James E. Cartwright, who lied to the FBI in a leak case involving Iran, was pardoned.
Chelsea Manning was due for release in the year 2045. A military judge had sentenced Manning to 35 years in prison for espionage. The former intelligence analyst passed more than 700,000 secret documents to WikiLeaks. Margaret Brennan is at the White House with why the Manning decision is so controversial. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning. Well, the decision to shorten Chelsea Manning's sentence was opposed by the Pentagon, and it angered many national security officials. Manning's 2010 leak of secret materials is one of the biggest breaches in U.S. history. Chelsea Manning will now be released from the prison barracks at Fort Leavenworth in May. Manning has already served more than 6 years and has transitioned to live as a woman.
The president's actions probably saved Chelsea Manning's life.
ACLU attorney Chase Strangio noted his client, who spent long stretches of time in solitary confinement, has twice attempted suicide in the last 6 months.
The reality is there was no way that she was going to survive another 28 years in prison.
The former Army intelligence analyst, then known as Bradley Manning, was convicted in 2013 of giving secret government documents to WikiLeaks. In her clemency application, Manning said, "I have never made any excuses for what I did." At the time of the leak, the White House said the disclosures put American lives at risk. But on Friday, spokesman Josh Earnest indicated Manning's remorse was persuasive.
As Chelsea Manning has acknowledged, the release of the information that she provided to WikiLeaks was damaging to national security. But the disclosures by Edward Snowden were far more serious and far more dangerous.
Both considered themselves whistleblowers when they handed over U.S. secrets. But unlike Manning, Edward Snowden evaded U.S. authorities and fled to Russia. Just last week, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange tweeted that he would turn himself in if President Obama offered Manning clemency. But Tuesday, the White House insisted there was no quid pro quo. House Speaker Paul Ryan called the president's decision outrageous. Senator John McCain called it a grave mistake and said Manning's dishonor will last forever. Meantime, the White House says to expect more commutations. And Gail, just overnight, Russia has decided to extend the residence permit of Edward Snowden, quote, for a couple of years.
All right, Margaret, this is an odd question to ask you, but are you standing outside? The picture behind you, it looks surreal. Are you outside?
Gail, I am, Gail. I've been joking that this is a metaphor for the week. No one quite knows what's ahead. We can't see very far. The fog is pretty thick here in Washington.
Well, it's a very interesting shot. I started thinking about vampires and werewolves for you, but I'm glad you're okay. Thank you very much, Margaret. Thank you. We'll see you a little bit later on.